appreciate you joining me, especially since I missed you all last week. Very sorry. I was thinking about time a lot this week. The ways it feels like it can stretch and shrink, the stories we tell ourselves about it, the ways we try to define it, the ways we try to experience it. And thinking about Susokukan, which is the name of the breath counting method, in Japanese at least, but it doesn't really need to have a name. It's a pretty simple thing, but counting your breaths. And one of the reasons why we do that at all, one of the reasons why we use any of these methods for breathing and slowing down. And I think I've talked before about thinking of it as breathing the count instead of counting the breaths. Kind of that switch for me means that instead of just, counting to 10 over and over again, get over and over again, getting caught up in the numbers, getting caught up in how fast or slow my breath is, I'm really just trying to take a moment to merge my breath with that count. So I'm breathing in 1. It's kind of how I hear the count in my head, slowing things down. But the point even there isn't just to get slow for slowness' sake, right? Slow isn't necessarily better than fast. It just offers us different things. And in thinking of time, I was thinking of how we try to experience right now. Right now is a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, but it's actually not as simple as it seems, in my opinion, how to define right now, right? One of my teachers says it's when the future turns into the past. So it's more of a process than an actual one moment, right? Because right now could be 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, it depends on the context of what we're talking about, what right now is. And the point of that explanation being that it's not something we can really define all the way intellectually, but it's something we can experience, right? We experience a million right nows in sequence changing into each other at all times. And in counting our breaths, breathing the count, we're trying to return our body, return our mind to right here, right now. What's happening right now inside of me? And that can be really expansive. It doesn't just have to be one thing, right? I'm breathing, but I'm also circulating blood. I'm sitting in a group of people. I'm sitting in a temple. There's all these things happening right now. But I'm trying to kind of, for a moment, return and practice that art of returning so that it becomes an instinct in me to when I see myself in the future, when I hear myself in the past, in my head, anxiety, depression, rumination, all of these things. I don't have to say, I'm going to end this right now, but I can go, okay, where can I return to that's a little bit more grounded, a little bit more maybe steeped in care rather than in narratives or true to what's happening right now. And I think just an interesting ways to think about time, looking in a mirror, right? We see ourselves, but we can never see ourselves in the same moment because the speed of light is slower than we can see. So we're seeing ourselves, even just milliseconds, but in the past. Every reflection of us isn't even truly us right now. And just the way mirrors work, that's not even our, true reflection. We're flipping it a little. So they have those apps where you can flip it again and see how other people see you. And it can sometimes be odd to think of all the different ways. This is not one thing. And it's not just what I see. It's not just what I think. There's so much to explore and to find once we strip away the kind of false narratives or the separations we put in between things. And the last kind of image I was thinking about was, I don't remember which teacher told me this, but somebody over this summer was talking about time as a rope. And you can say I tied a rope from beam to beam, right? And there's just a taut rope in anywhere that you are if you're online, but just a taut rope. That's one rope, we could say, right? But if you get closer, the rope is made of little ropes that are woven together to make one bigger rope. And even those tiny ropes are made of little fabrics. And no fabric is stretching from beam to beam, right? It's going a few feet, and then it's being interwoven with other fabrics that are going a few feet. It's countless of fabrics that make up this one rope. And they're all kind of just clinging to each other. So the past and the future are kind of meeting at that friction point of right And that keeps happening throughout the rope over and over and over again. And so, kind of abstract metaphors, but to think of time, I think, wherever we need to go, if we're feeling too stressed about it being too short or like it's dragging on, we can sometimes break it up into different ways of thinking, and that can allow us different ways to engage with it. If I feel like I felt like I was running out of time these past few weeks, I jumped back into work. There was so much to catch up on, and I was like, oh, there's no time to do anything. And I was kind of busybodying around frantically for a couple of days. Even through my meditation sessions, I'd be there, I'd lead something for somebody and be like, oh, that felt great. Now back to being busy and going all around. And yesterday, I just slowed down and was thinking, like, there's not no time. There's never been no time, right? Even when I've been the most busy, there's been a moment that I could just take a deep breath and not pretend that that's a whole day of rest, but to really try to join that breath fully and even just find ease for that second. And then remind myself to return to that can be the practice more than thinking will be in that ease in some kind of sustained perpetual way, because things are just happening all around us all the time. So that's not quite possible, I don't think. But practicing in this little container, this very big container as well, returning right now. 1, 2, 3. Lost my count, thought of something. 1, 2, 3. Just coming back to here again and again and again, I think gives us truer and truer experiences of what right now might be. So that's my sharing for today. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you to everybody online.